Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast, episode 292, live Caps game. Commanders tie the New York Giants, Wizards talk, and World Cup. I'm joined by DC's People's Champ. How you doing tonight, Champ?
I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. A tough week for the Wiz and an up and down game for the Commanders, and hopefully the Caps can pull one out tonight in Edmonton.
Yeah, it's there's already been some power plays in this Edmonton game. The Caps really poured it on their power play. The Edmonton Oilers are, have come back and gotten a power play of their own. It's a commercial break right now with 5:51 or so left in the first period. Tonight's show will have a little bit of a different order to it. We're going to start off with some football talk in just a couple of minutes. Dujunnea is going to be stuff's in your sorry. We're gonna start off with some football talk, and we're gonna bring in Dujunnea a little early to talk about that, and then we will be talking all night long, scoring updates for this hockey game. We're also going to talk about the situation of the Commanders at the bye week. Their Sunday night game, or their Sunday game next in 2 weeks, has been flexed to the nighttime game. So we'll talk about that with Dujunnea as well. We'll also take a look at the upcoming schedule, since this will be the last football roundtable of 2022, which is kind of crazy. And then we'll pick them back up right at the end of the regular season and hopefully do a playoff preview show when we come back in January. And then after the football talk, we may or may not have some more guests joining us. It's a little up in the air, but we'll either way, Champ and I and whoever else is on the line, will break down the tough week for the Wizards. And then after that, we will bring in some more potential special guests and talk about the World Cup. And then we will end with some hockey talk. So there's 2 definite guests and 4 maybe guests on tonight's show. So that's why I'm being a little bit of not saying who's talking in what segment right now, but it'll be a full show no matter who is able to show up. I appreciate all of our contributors for being a part of it. Again, 5 minutes remaining here in the first period. The Capitals have put up 20 shots in the first period, which I think is pretty impressive for them. But nothing has gotten through. Their goalie, some people in the comments were saying it looks like Dominik Hasek, which is not wrong. He's looked really good, stellar early on in this game. The Oilers have
Dominator.
Dominator, exactly. 7 shots for the Oilers. Interesting enough, New Orleans in the Monday Night Football game has taken a 7-3 lead over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And speaking of people who like Tom Brady, thank you, Carly, for the resub. And 20 months now for Carly Sings. So she's our first person to resub for 20 months, which is pretty cool. I appreciate you, Carly. As always, so we got Carly, Andy, and Champ all in chat. I appreciate all of the mods. So Ovechkin has been on the ice already for 8 shifts. There's 4 minutes left in this first period here. In just about 5 or just a couple of minutes, we see that Dujunnea is already on the line. We will switch over to some football talk. It is impressive that they got a bye week or a tie in a week before the bye week. And then it's going to set up a rematch against that same team. It's just kind of like, it's a lot of drama going into that one. It was a relatively good game. I'm happy. Some people were like, oh, we should have won. And the officials made some pretty awful calls, especially in the first half. But overall, a tie is better than a loss. It's not quite as good as a win. But I wouldn't be shocked if the tie actually ends up helping both these teams maybe squeak into the playoffs. It was interesting. The chance of making the playoffs went up for the Commanders and down for the Giants with that tie, which I thought was interesting looking at the stats, especially because the Giants are still ahead of us in the standings. So that's a little bit of a preview of all the different topics we're talking about tonight. We've got World Cup, we've got basketball, we've got hockey, and we've got football. So lots of different sports on tonight's show. I got a live scoreboard if you are live on Twitch with us. showing and we are only one away from my goal for 2022, which is 450 followers. So that's pretty awesome. I'm excited about that. So yeah, it should be a fun show. But Champ, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just sitting here, still been binge watching Hell's Kitchen. It's a really great series, and just ready to talk some football and some basketball, and just talking sports is just so much fun.
Yeah, definitely. Champ talks a lot of different sports. He also talks wrestling on his show. We'll give a shout out for the No Spots podcast at the end of these segments, but he knows a lot of different sports. So and he's a Caps fan too. So
Yep.
it's fun to talk all different sports with Champ here. And with that, I think we'll also bring in Dujunnea, and that we can start our football talk as well. Dujunnea, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a crazy week. My family had COVID this past week, so they were all quarantined, and I actually stayed home for a couple of days with them. I luckily had got it a couple months ago, so I don't want to say immune from it, but like they coughed in my face an awful lot, and I didn't get it. So I'll put it that way. And so I'm happy that I was able to take care of them. It's been an interesting and long week, but I'm happy I got to spend some time with them during this week and this weekend. I'm happy that it was a tie, not a loss in this game, because with just a few minutes left in the game, I thought it was going to be a loss, and I thought that I was very proud of our team for being able to put together a stop and get the ball and drive down the field and get an important touchdown, and then with a lot of time left, I was a little nervous. I was like, and be able to have a defensive stop to force overtime, and a well played overtime. I thought there was an opportunity where we maybe could have gone for a game winning field goal. It was right on that threshold, and maybe it was too far for him. But I understand not giving them the ball with really good field position, and ultimately that may have been a decision that helped them get the tie. I don't know. I'll start there with you, Dujunnea. Do you think you go for the long field goal, go for the win, or you think that was the right call?
It was the right call. I play my odds, at the end of the day, I don't think you take a chance. They had given up a couple short fields for them, and I wouldn't have done that. Not in overtime. I'd have just took my chances.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, because on times where they had short field, they were able to make us pay. On times where we made them go the distance, it was a bit more of a struggle for them. We'll put it that way. And so I think you're right. Play the odds, and just an interesting ending. And I'm happy that Graham Gano. I had these horrible visions of him beating us. Former kicker, comes back to beat us. It would be a very Washington story, if you will. But I was happy that it was just short. Yeah, it was an interesting game. DJ, what were your general thoughts on the game? And then we can break it down a little bit further.
A lot of opportunities. They have been continuing to, stick to their game plan. Penalties were an issue, especially on offense. There's maybe one or two I don't agree with the call. And third downs were atrocious, but fortunately enough, it was atrocious for your opposing team as well. So that's pretty much my thing. They did well with time possession. They just missed on some opportunities that they had to be able to kind of blow this game open just a little bit. Maybe with an extra touchdown or a field goal would have been a difference. But they missed on a few opportunities, and penalties really hurt the team late.
Yeah, let's talk about penalties and close games. And for me, the difference was in the first half. I thought it should have been a pass interference on the New York Giants, and I don't guess I understand the definition of offensive pass interference. If it's not, I mean, he pushed off on him, was able to retain possession because of it. And they ultimately score a touchdown because of it. And in a game that's this close, I mean, that's a difference maker right there. And then meanwhile, on the other side, where it should have been pass interference, and in my mind, defensive against us, they call it that illegal contact or something. And I don't understand why. My understanding is if it impedes the ability to catch the ball, it's not illegal contact, it's pass interference. So I guess I don't know if I just don't understand the definitions well enough or, but those two missed calls on pass interference, both on the offensive side and defensive side, huge difference in this game. What are some of your thoughts on that, Dujunnea?
I thought the worst one was the Logan Thomas block in the back. There was no block in the back. That really hurt a big game. I thought they had a pretty good drive going there. The pass interference stuff, this is stuff we've been talking about since the early 2000s. I mean, there's a disconnect between the NFL and its officials. I feel like the illegal contact stuff, I think that clouds things a lot. Because I mean, really, when we're talking about it, isn't
whoa,
that's right. It's a CP3 site, baby. What's going on, y'all?
What?
CP3 is in the motherfucking building.
Dude.
What is going on?
I had to do a pop. I wanted to surprise y'all. I ain't want to say nothing. I was like, I'm gonna come on. I'm a surprise.
Carol's been in the group chat all evening while we've been planning the show and not saying a single word.
I just been waiting by my time. I saw y'all was redoing the format. Going to do football first. I said, I'm gonna have something for them, and I'm gonna jump on just because of that crazy ass tie last night. I was like, I gotta come on there because I know I want to hear what Dujunnea got to say about it. We ain't chopped it up in a minute, so I damn sure had to come on to see what your thoughts was on this tie because I got my thoughts, bro.
Right. Yeah,
I'm just blown away right now.
I'm just gonna lay out because these two gonna have it. I'm just gonna lay out. Right here.
What's up, DC's people? Chat, what's going on, baby?
Oh my goodness! All right, well, I guess you took the night off. I don't know, but I don't know why we get to have you. But I'm so happy that you're here.
Baby, you never know, Tony. You never know where I'm gonna pop up at, man. I might pop up on the moon sometimes, dog. You never know. I'm gonna give you the best sports report you're gonna get from the moon.
Nice. Well, all right, real quickly, Carol, what are your thoughts on this game?
Oh man, I was biting my nails, biting my toenails, my fingernails. I was taking a drink, taking a shot because it was a classic NFC East division battle. If it wasn't for the inconsistent refereeing, I would have thought it was one of the best games of the season. Other than the refereeing, I felt like it was a good game. I wasn't happy that it ended in a tie because I felt like the Commanders left some points on the board and a couple of opportunities, especially in overtime. I felt like if they could have, Scott Turner would have stuck with the run like they were doing with success. They could have got that field goal after Samuels had that impressive 21-yard catch. Yeah. But we got him again in week 15. You mentioned it's been flexed to Sunday night, so we all will be tuned in. But all in all, it was a classic NFC East battle, and I really can't be mad about it. Like I said, without the inconsistent refereeing, I still consider it a good game. We could have won, they could have won, and I had the thought of it being a tie, like in the middle of the fourth quarter. I was like, nah, they're going to find a way. We're going to figure out a way to win this game, and then lo and behold, it ends in a tie.
Well, so it's funny that you say that because you actually, in one of your comments, because you write a lot of stuff. If people want a good follow during a game, definitely check CP3 out on Facebook. He does live commentary throughout. But I love it how in the comments you have to bury it a little bit deep. In one of them, you were like, "We'll come back and we're going to tie this right here." And I was like, "And tie they did, right?" Just like I thought that was a very apropos statement. And
I wasn't speaking for the game, but that's how it turned out. But I guess I got to be more. I got to clarify better when I put my post out, I guess.
Yeah,
it was definitely a good game, Dujunnea. I can't wait to hear what you got to say about this game.
I thought the game was, like you said, it's an NFC East battle. Classic, really takes us back. Really, I don't think we've seen a game like this. With two NFC East teams in quite some time, especially when you're talking about Washington and the New York Giants over the last couple of years. Giants kind of owned them over the last couple of years, especially in New York. I think there's opportunities that were left on the field. Like I said, the third down conversions, and I think some of them are a tribute to Maybe just getting a little bit too involved in the pass game. Could have taken advantage of some areas with the run. Also, penalties set them back in some critical and stifling some critical drives that they really were had some plays on that dumb penalties. When you could probably have gotten a first down and you had a 15-yard gain, you're now backed up and starting first and long, first and extra long. Those were difficult in that type of a tight matchup where both defenses were getting opportunities to tee off and make some plays on the quarterback. To me, I think this is a game that Washington clearly should have won. I mean, you're talking about 35-18 in time of possession. Again, it comes down to the penalties. It comes down to third down conversions, which have made it an issue. I'll be the first to say, as a reporter, looking at it from a reporter side, look, a tie is better than not taking a loss, but you can rest assured that the players do not feel that way at all. They actually feel like they had taken a loss. And you know what? I'm not even mad at that because I don't want a team, and I don't think the fans should want a team that would be complacent with a tie. That means they'll work hard. They'll continue to work hard as they have been and try to move this thing forward when we go in 2 weeks at FedEx against the same team. I'm really, really interested. I'm really excited about the progress of this football team. A lot of people didn't believe in what Ron Rivera and these guys were doing. Granted, they made some changes, hurt us, hopefully, Carol, in this whole run game deal that should have started at the beginning of the season. But here we are. So you're in the midst of a playoff battle. I know this fan base is beyond jaded and a little bit just overly negative about how things go. But I really believe that this fan base should be very proud of this football team. And with a couple games left, I believe it's like 3 out of the last 4 or something like that are at home. That you got a good opportunity to walk. We can see 4 NFC East teams in the playoffs. That's what we're looking at, right?
It's possible.
So they just have to keep grinding, keep moving, but they got to cut down on the penalties. And I'm gonna finish with this. Look, I'm really tired of seeing people talking about Taylor Heineke and well, a couple of those passes were just close enough to be an interception. Look, dude, this is who this guy is. First off, second of all, cut it with the negativity, because you know what, man, those wide receivers balled. The one critical play at the end, he threw a real tight one, and it very well could have been picked off if you had a lazy receiver that wasn't balling for his quarterback. I believe either that was Samuel. I think it was Samuel jumped up and attacked the football and took it away. It was either Samuel or McLaurin, but he attacked the football in the air and took it away and got that catch. That's what you want to see from the players around him. Okay, He's going to do what he's going to do. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to live with some interceptions. You're going to have to live with at least a turnover a game. But he makes some plays. That play he made, rolling out, ton of pressure, waits for Samuel to get open and throws that ball up the sideline. That's the play that enabled them to get this tie.
Yeah, that was 4th down.
Okay, so the guy has a lot of moxie. So I understand he isn't the elite guy, but he has that it factor and that gamer mentality. And right now, he's what this team needs. And just be happy with what they've got going on, man. I really wish they would have won this game, though. Again, they know it. Coach said it in his presser. They just left some stuff out there on the field, man. A few more plays. Joey Sly hits that field goal, and we're talking about, what, 23-20?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's just a couple plays, man, here or there. I'm looking forward to the Sunday night matchup. Obviously, the NFL knows that these two teams are balling.
Yeah, it was definitely a great game in some aspects. You were mentioning Taylor Heineke. I've made the connection because a lot of you know how I feel about Scott Turner, but I do give credit because the last, the 6 out of 7 that they won, he, stepped his game up, sticking with the run. We didn't see a lot of the shotgun third and shorts or the 3 wide receiver third and shorts. So he's improving, but he's not perfect. So just like with Heineke, you're going to get good and you're going to get bad. And you're going to get that play where you scratch your head like, what the hell was he thinking? But at the end of the day, like you say, the team plays hard for him. And I actually, you mentioned Facebook, Robbie. I just got restricted because I just ended up snapping on a Commanders fan because they had the audacity to say, if Carson Wentz was there, we'd have won this game running away.
No way.
And I said, first all I said was 5-1-1/2-4, which are their records at starting quarterback for this team. And that should be all that needs to be said. He might not have the strongest arm. He might give you those head scratcher plays, but this team plays hard for him, and he plays hard for this team.
But doesn't Carson give you the head scratchers too? I mean, are we forgetting that? I mean, look, I'm going to be the first to tell you, I think Carson's record would have been better if they had done this game plan that they're running right now earlier in the season. With that said,
Facts.
You are what you are, quoting Bill Parcells. And on top of that, again, are we forgetting that there are some head scratcher plays when it comes to a guy in Carson Wentz? I said it when they decided to go to Taylor Heineke. I said, you're getting basically the same guy. Both these guys are the same. The only difference is Taylor understands this offense has been here a while, and these guys are rallying around him. And you have to, that means something. You know what I mean? It's not no slight against Carson, but it means something, especially when you're trying to win football games, when you're trying to get to this franchise into the playoffs, when you're trying to move forward. This is what Ron Rivera has to do. So don't try to, that's not a good argument, Carol, at all.
Yeah.
Trust quarterbacks are the same.
Yeah, trust me, I know. But I feel Carson got, after that Philly game, he was just shell-shocked after that 9-sack game. After that, he was hearing footsteps. You could see that he was worried about the penetration and was overthrowing the ball, underthrowing the ball.
Right.
But it all comes down to wins and losses. And this team plays for him. They're in the playoff chase for him, with him. And going forward, this is going to be a hell of a game. The question of Chase Young possibly being available. Coach had a good
That's the X factor.
Yeah, coach had a good somebody asked him about it, and coach had a good reaction to it, which I totally agree with. If we needed him and we needed him on the field, then yeah, we probably would have played. But being the defense is playing as well as they are, our main concern is making sure he's 100% healthy before he hits the field. And I don't even want to go into some of the conspiracy theories I didn't saw online. And JP Finley, I actually had to call him out the other day with his conspiracy theory BS. But at this point, you really don't need him because the line is playing well. Montez Sweat now with the concussion protocol is a question. Hopefully it won't be a long, drawn-out process with him. But, the team is playing well. Like you said, they changed the game plan up. We're running the ball. And that actually, when Brian Robinson came back from, maybe that was the deciding factor because he wasn't at the start of the season. They started out the way they did.
Yeah.
Once he came back, they changed the game plan up, which I'm not a true fan of Scott Turner, but I'm going to give credit where credit is due. And the man has been, calling his butt off. I say about 85 to 90%, I haven't had an issue with. It's that 10% that you feel, but nobody's perfect.
What's up, Champ?
All in all, I think the team is in the best position with the best quarterback available right now.
Facts.
And I said it at draft after watching tape on Sam Howell, who I feel is a Heineke with a stronger arm. Be on the lookout because we might have a franchise quarterback on the roster already.
I agree.
But next up, what did you think about it? I've been having a lot of interaction about the Deron Payne situation because a lot of fans are upset because we didn't so-called sign him, last year and he's balling out this year. And I've tried to explain to them that for one, he had to prove himself. For two, the blow up on the sideline with Allen wasn't a good look, even though they've got past that. And number three, you can't re-sign everybody. And you have Cam Curl, you got Sweat, you got Holcomb, all coming up with contracts in the next 2 to 3 years. So only thing that I didn't like was the DC sports media putting it out that they weren't picking up this 5th-year option and made it like they didn't want him, which is going to add money to the deal, which we all know is going to happen. But as I've told some other fans that are mad about the Carson Wentz deal, because he hasn't played 70% of the snaps, we don't give him back a conditional draft pick. And his 22 million, 26 million comes off the books next year. So we go from 28 million under the cap to 46 million under the cap. So with all those intangibles, I feel it's possible they can re-sign him with the franchise tag looking at about 18 million. So they're looking at about between 19 and 20 for him, front loaded with guaranteed money. It's possible to make it work. My question to you is, do you think they want to make it work?
It all depends on how he finishes this season, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't deny what he means to the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to come down to player, the coaching staff, and guys, their agents working together on this. Will he be, does he see a future here where there can be consistency in winning and making playoffs consistently and competing? I think that's what's going to be I don't think the noise or any of that other stuff, off the field stuff, is really going to be an issue. I think that's your issue. Can he feel like giving his career here, will he be able to be on a winning squad? Because he's definitely showed out this year. Whether that's contract year stuff or what, but you can't deny what he's doing. That's what this team has been missing for a while. And then you mentioned the fact that you can't sign everybody. That's one of those things when you have a bunch of first-round draft picks, and unfortunately for most of these first-round draft picks, early career, they've wasted and squandered, their that ability to have all of these guys on the field at once. With that said, I think they can make this happen. Mm-hmm. The question is, will they? Yeah. And that's going to be, like I said, I think that's going to be a thing between Payne feeling as if, I'm not saying he's going to take a hometown discount. I'm just saying that, they can work the numbers to where both sides are happy. And he feels like going forward that this isn't going to be an organization that's going to be in flux in the next year or two. I think that's going to be the key to whether he's going to stay or not. You know what I mean? And I think that's the key to, to other guys that are not signed or need to be signed in the next couple of years is this winning deal. And if you're winning and the culture's great, guess what? You get things like the Patriots where people are taking hometown discounts, things of those nature, to keep the core guys together so they can continue to win, because it's about the goal. It's about the goal at the end of the day, the Super Bowl, more than about getting a paycheck, because these guys will rotate. A guy like Allen will restructure his contract, or somebody will restructure his contract so somebody else can get paid, and vice versa. And if they want to, they can franchise them. They got that option too.
Yeah, there's only 18 million. Like I said, they're getting 22 back from Carson. That puts 46 under.
Yep.
Draft class. And they definitely got to work on. I think they need to go ahead and start on working on Sweat and Curl right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they need to go ahead and start getting that in the works, because you want to start locking down that core on the defense. You already got Allen. Excuse me. If you can secure Payne, you got Sweat. You got Mathis, who injured earlier this year. He's waiting to see what he's going to do with his impact. And then the X factor is Ridgeway. Came out of nowhere.
Exactly. Yeah. That is huge.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell folks. So that adds a little complications to it, because they know they have this rookie under a rookie contract that's showing all the signs of doing the things that Daron Payne is doing now on the same trajectory. So will they take the chance and let him walk and keep Ridgeway? I hope they do like Payne. I think they can get it done with Allen being there, because they're like brothers. And like you said, Allen, he might, like I say, take a pay cut to keep his boy there, or they can front load the contract with guaranteed money so it doesn't affect the cap as much. So there's flexibility in what they can do. Like you said, it's just a question, are they going to do it?
Right. That's the key. That really is.
All right, so it's playoff time, and like you mentioned, there's almost a possibility of having 4 NFC East teams in the playoffs at one time, which would be unheard of. Which team is the most intriguing to you going forward? Not even just the NFC East, just going forward in NFC. What team is the most intriguing that you're looking to possibly make a move? We know 49ers have lost their quarterback, even though I haven't seen the quarterback. I haven't watched the footage from yesterday, but I heard the backup played pretty well, so I got to check him out this week because we know we got this 2 weeks. Yeah, we got them in 2 weeks, and I want us to beat them for more than just the playoffs because that whining ass Trent Williams over there, I want him to take another L like he took 2 years ago after he went whining talking about, oh, they tried to kill me. The trainer didn't know I had cancer. He's a fucking physical trainer. He's not an oncologist. Take your ass to the doctor. You got money. So that's the main reason I want to beat that ass, just to keep him out the playoffs. What do you think is the most intriguing team to you going forward?
I've got to Seattle and Minnesota. So Seattle for reasons of Geno Smith, and I got to give a shout out to my boy Emery Hunt at Football Game Plan. We talked about it at like I think it was the first game of the season that he played. And I was like, you think you can keep this up? And he's like, absolutely, yes. And it's just amazing what they've done with him and what he's done. Prepare himself to come out here. He's making play after play after play, and they're not missing a beat. They almost look better than when, Russ was there. And then with Minnesota, I'm on the other side of the fence here. We got old cornball boy up in there wearing chains on the plane. And, the question is he going to be that guy that we saw in the first half of the season where he's doing all corny dances and whatnot? Or is he going to come out like he always has in playoffs and come out missing in action? We've seen this team in a couple big games that they've played where they've come out, he's come out, and he hasn't looked crisp or any of that at all. Missing receivers, missing his top receiver, just so up and down. Their 2 losses, they probably could have had 1 or 2 more losses on top of that record. So those 2 teams are really intriguing for me. I know most people probably would have said the Cowboys, but I mean, we know what they are. There's really nothing to talk about there. They're doing a great job in winning the games they're supposed to win and beating opponents the way you should beat them. They're head above heels better than the Indianapolis Colts. So, I mean, let's not forget that they were in a dogfight until the second half. So I'm just saying, getting 33 points in the fourth quarter is no surprise against a team that they're head above heels better than. But at the end of the day, what have they done in the last 20 years? The same old crap. Do this, if they even have a winning record, they get to the playoffs and they're gone in the first round. So it's nothing to talk about. Okay. Nothing to talk about there. But I'm really intrigued by those 2 teams, Seattle and Minnesota. Obviously, both are opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, Geno definitely has surprised me this year. He's actually my backup quarterback in fantasy. He actually outscored Josh Allen this week. But I didn't think that he would be able to sustain these numbers and what he's been doing all year. So that's definitely an X factor. Minnesota, you know how I feel about Kurt. And I actually thought they was going to take a loss to the Jets because of the pressure they can produce. But Kurt stood in there, took some shots, and made some throws. Jefferson, he better buy that man a house. Fuck buying Jordans like Heineken. He better buy that nigga a house because he has salvaged and rescued him this season many times. So they are an X factor. My dark horse right now, I guess I would have to lean towards Seattle, just like you say, because Geno's playing lights out. They got that running back rookie that slept on a trade that I should have took in fantasy football that's been putting up crazy numbers. He had an off game yesterday, but definitely Seattle is a team to watch going forward. And I think the most funniest thing about this whole playoff situation is with the Commanders right now sitting at the 8th spot and having off next week with the teams that play each other, they're going to find themselves in the playoff spot without even playing next week.
Exactly.
That's the funniest thing about this whole situation right now, that they're going to make the playoff, be back in the playoff hunt after a tie, knock them out and not even play and be back in the playoffs. That's the crazy NFC and the crazy NFL this year. So it's been a great season, and it's crazy. It's already week 14. We've been waiting all year for football, and now it's almost over again already and shit.
It's wild.
So
Yeah.
I just want to talk a little bit, it's the bye week going into it. And so we kind of like to do an assessment here on the show where we take a look at what we were thinking they would do, where they're at, and what we're going to do going forward.
Oh, boy, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So the bye week comes very late this season, later than it has for a long time for our team, if I remember correctly. And which I actually always wanted. I've always pushed for. I think a later bye is good. You can use it when you need it. It's not like early. I find it really messes us up like week 5 when they do things like that. So so with that being said, we're almost dead on target, which is kind of surprising to me, because when I was looking at it at the beginning of the season, when we had some slip ups, I was like, I don't see how it's going to get to any of these numbers that we were predicting. We predicted some pretty high numbers, and so
optimistic numbers.
we're very optimistic. And so but we're all, all of us, everyone on this roundtable was optimistic. So and we're doing about right. We're only about 1/2 a win under where you thought we'd be at 8, so it's interesting that the tie has us right there. Looking ahead though, so we've got an important game obviously against the Giants. It's a must win. We've got the Browns, we've got the Cowboys, and the 49ers. So we only have one more road game, and that's the 49ers one. The rest are at home, I believe. So we have an opportunity to, win 3 out of 4 here and solidify a playoff spot. I think 3 out of 4 would do it if we can do it. And so I'll just talk to each one of you guys real quickly. I'll start off with Carol, then I'll get Dujunnea, and then I do want to get Champ's thoughts on this as well. But Carol, what are your thoughts comparative to where you thought they would be, and how do you think that the final 4 go out? And do you think we can get 3 out of 4?
I think we can definitely get 3 out of 4. The X factor with me is the Browns with Deshaun Watson coming back. I didn't really get a chance to check out him yesterday, but I saw he did make some plays. I think they won. I have to go back and look. But
they did win.
They did? Okay,
yeah.
Yes. That's going to me, I was counting that one as, pretty much a solid game that we should win. They do have a formidable defense and a quality running game, and we've been pretty good with the run. Unfortunately, the last 2 games, for some reason, we haven't been able to keep the quarterback in the pocket. And hopefully they rectify that coming up against Jones again next week, because I said you got to keep that man in the pocket. He almost ran 400 on us again. And but it's definitely possible to win 3 out of 4. I would love to win 4 out of 4, but I just don't know if it's going to happen, making that trip to Cali, to San Fran after they come off the Sunday night game. Coach spoke about that a little bit. He was wishing they moved it to Saturday, so it'll be a whole week. But I think it's possible for winning 3 out of 4. They have the destiny in their own hands. They're playing good ball. I feel like they have the advantage with the Giants because they had 3 weeks now to prep and game plan. They played them this week. They have the bye and then have them the following week. And I think that will definitely help our team, as opposed to the Giants, who have to play the Eagles and then come back and play us again. So I think it's definitely possible to win 3 out of 4, and this should be a playoff team going forward into the postseason. And if they continue playing like this, you never know what can happen. We've seen teams run the table from the wild card before. Not saying it's going to happen, but when you get into the playoffs, anything's possible.
Yeah, so Dujunnea, same sort of question. I think that they're doing better than I expected based on the early returns, but just slightly under what we had predicted them to be before we saw those returns. And so they're right about where we thought they'd be almost, but we have to win 3 out of 4. What is your take on that?
I think they can win 4 out of 4. You You got a home game. You got a home game 3 times. San Francisco is without a quarterback, and will be for the rest of the season. He'll put some tape out there for a couple of weeks before you get to him, so you'll be able to get to that. Cleveland, Deshaun made some plays, but he didn't look great. His defense did a lot for him as far as the points go. So I don't know how well or how much he's going to affect what Washington has already faced a couple of times this season. Jalen Hurts. So I don't. Justin Fields, who the mobile quarterback type deal is what I'm thinking of there. So I don't know if that's a big deal, and that is also at home. And then the Dallas Cowboys at the end, they could be sitting somewhere with 11 or 12 wins, and they're not interested in playing their starters in a home game, in a game in FedEx on a field that has claimed some folks. They might not put their guys out there on the field for that game because they may be looking ahead to the next game they're going to have to play and trying to reserve their stars to not get hurt in that game. So we're going to see. I really thought that they would split with Dallas anyway. I think that's still possible, especially the way the defense is playing. But I mean, really, honestly, the Giants, you can serve them up real easily with having this time off. And you get Chase Young back. It's going to be interesting. San Francisco, man, is not who they're not what they were with Jimmy Garoppolo. That's going to hurt. And Cleveland is just Cleveland. I mean, and then they come into your house. I think they can get 4 out of 4. I might be riding a little bit of a high from what I'm seeing and what we saw in the fight last week. But this is who this team has been coming up to this point. Mm-hmm. I don't see Ron Rivera allowing this team to turn back. And this thing's in your favor. You really honestly just have to go take San Francisco. And with their quarterback going down, I mean, nobody else is scaring me. And I know that people are laughing about Baker Mayfield, but give me a break. That dude ain't. I don't care who they got. If they got him, it definitely ain't happening. Oh, yeah. But they're gonna have a young man out there that this defense is gonna be able to get after. So I'm gonna go 4 out of 4.
Nice.
I'm gonna give a quick scoring update because the Lars Eller, the Tiger, just scored to tie it at 12:35 in the second. The Caps have been playing so well, but not been able to get one past this goalie. And then great Deke move around, got the goalie to bite and go down and out. And a really nice goal by the Tiger, just wraps it around him and up and in. Because the Oilers were able to score very early on in this period. It's been feisty. There's been a lot of power play opportunities, but our power play has not converted, even though the penalty kill of the Oilers is not very good. That was a 5-on-5 goal, though. In 21 games played against Edmonton, he has now 5 goals and 3 assists. I just wanted to give finally a good moment for the Capitals. It's been a rough game for them. That was on their 25th shot of the game. They had 24 in the first period or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that when I turned the game on. They had 18 shots to Edmonton's 6, and Edmonton was up 1-0. I was like, Jesus, it's been crazy with the Capitals. I miss being on Capitals Talk with you and Ad. Miss.
We don't even have anybody tonight, so it's you are our hockey talk. So that's why I'm so surprised to see you. So,
all right, well, yeah, I've been a little disappointed in some of the play the last 2 games, losing late leads, but they're still not healthy. So it's just about getting enough wins and getting enough points to stay in the chase. So when we do get healthy, they can continue to do what we know they can do.
I agree. All right, let's get back into football talk, but maybe Carol will stick with me and maybe we'll talk hockey for a couple of minutes as well. Because we are doing live look-ins for this crazy game against the Oilers. And if you're watching live on Twitch, there's actually a scoreboard that's showing the live score, which is kind of cool. But somebody on the Caps must have been watching the stream. I can only hope. All right, let's Champ, I want to get your thoughts on the last 4 games and your thoughts going into the playoff hunt.
Okay, so everybody knows that this fan base is very, very just negative. I'm part of this fan base, but I try to be realistic and optimistic when it comes to this team. And after a very slow start, this team has really started to pick it up. The defense has been amazing. And when you think about the probability of having Chase Young back for that game against the Giants, and now it's on Sunday night, now the microscope is a lot more focused on you. The Browns game doesn't give me a lot of pause, but I'm looking at it very closely because, yes, Deshaun Watson did struggle in his first game back on Sunday. His defense and his special teams bailed him out. Okay, that's what's going to be the concerning thing for me, is that they have a defense that bailed out a quarterback who's rusty as heck. And he's going to have at least 3 games to get back to game shape before he faces us here in FedEx Field. I don't think that the Cleveland Browns fan base is going to be that prominent, especially now that this team is playing well and is in the playoff hunt. But I feel like this secondary has got to be on point. The front 7 is on point. They've been putting in the work. They got to be able to contain Nick Chubb, because Chubb is a phenomenal running back. He's very, very strong. He runs between the tackles, and he's a power runner. So if they can be able to put the clamps on Nick Chubb, it's going to force Deshaun Watson to have to go out there and throw. And that's where our secondary has to step up and make plays on passing downs or on passing plays. And if they can do that, then I agree with DJ that this team can win those last 4 games and most likely get into the playoffs. We already know what the Giants are bringing to the table. They were able to keep Saquon Barkley down a little bit. They had a problem with eliminating big plays. Giants had quite a few big plays, not too many, but just enough that it made it a tie ball game. San Francisco has lost Trey early in the season, and now they've lost Jimmy G. So the quarterback situation is going to be a problem for them, but they still do have CMC. So that's going to be the main person to have to deal with, CMC, as well as their talented wide receiver. So if you can deal with those two, you can handle San Francisco. The only thing is that it's a short week and you have to go to the West Coast. So that's going to be a big thing for this team, is to have to go off a short week, playing on Sunday night, and then boom, there you go. So it's going to be interesting to see what this team can do down the stretch, but I'm going to be just as optimistic as DJ and say I think we can finish off with 4 straight wins and make the playoffs. But it won't be easy because it is the NFL, and the old saying is, on any given Sunday, a team can win. So this team has to buckle down. Defense has to be on point, and the offense has to continue to rely on Brian Robinson Jr., who almost had a 100-yard rushing game for the second game in a row. He came 4 yards short, 96 yards. He was 4 yards short of his second straight 100-yard rushing. I
feel like he had gotten 4 yards at the end and we gotten that field goal, or just, a little bit closer in overtime.
Right.
That could have. It's a game of inches. We talk about it. That could have been the 4 yards. So
absolutely. But they need to rely on him and Rob and Gibson. They need to rely on that run game to set, and they need to start incorporating more play action pass. When you have 2 dynamic runners like Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson, that play action pass will work beautifully. You have 3 extremely talented wide receivers in McLaurin, Samuel, and Dotson. Play action pass has to be there for this offense to really, really get going. They know how to keep the ball. They know how to grind it out. But when you throw in some play action pass with those talented wide receivers and that dynamic running game, you could be very, very unstoppable. So I'm with DJ. I think we go 4 for 4, and I think we make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think for me, it's all predicated on this first game against the Giants. I think it can really tell how the momentum, trajectory, and all of it goes. I think, historically, we haven't been that great after a bye week, and so I just think, and historically, Giants have given us trouble in the past. So, it's things that like that. It's adversity. I think it's important, but it will set the table. If they can overcome that adversity, we just saw them. We definitely can beat them. Just a couple of plays and penalties away from beating them, but like I think it'll set the table. I think if they win that game, it'll give them momentum to carry through. If they lose that game, I think they'll probably lose 2 out of the 4. So like I think it's a interesting how that game goes. I think could dictate how the rest of the games go, at least in my mind. But all right, well, let's talk just a little bit more. I just want to get Dujunnea's final thoughts, because I know that we've used a lot of his time. And Dujunnea, final things that you want to address with us before we let you go?
They just have to be prepared. I think they've done a pretty good job since Ron Rivera's been here, trying to be good after the bye week. It's just a matter of throwing a couple new wrinkles in. I think they know exactly what they can do to get after the Giants, and it's making those adjustments on defense. I just like to see the penalties cleaned up, and them execute, make a few more plays, and I really think they have an opportunity to win. Win that game coming in. With the Giants here in 2 weeks. So it's so weird, man, playing a team twice in 3 weeks. I don't even know how many times this happens, but it's definitely weird. But I think they got a really good shot at coming back. I think this team is more focused than they have been in previous years.
Yeah, I'm excited. The opportunity is put out there, and I just hope that as we we take it and we run with it, because it's for a lot of times we were playing because we were the underdog, and now that's not necessarily the story anymore, and we have to kind of change that narrative. And I think it'll be interesting to see how the next 4 weeks plays out. I mean, because now I'm sort of surprised, because this isn't the same Taylor Heineke that we saw last year, and I think we've seen great maturity, and I'm so happy that we stuck with it, because it takes sometimes a year or 2 to develop that talent. Like, it's not just because you're a good quarterback. Like, you can see it. Carson doesn't know the system in the same way. And also Hart is so important. And I think that he just has it in spades. And for me, having Hart and working through some of the adversity from last year could really, could pay dividends pretty quickly, and it'll be interesting to see how these next 4 weeks go. But Dujunnea, we appreciate you as always, and it's weird that we are going to be taking a break. I don't know if Carol's going to be able to do an episode. I guess I can ask him. Are you planning to do an episode while you're on vacation, Carol?
Most likely. I have some time off, so I'll probably end up doing a show. Stay tuned, but 9 times out of 10, there will be a Sports on the Hill podcast.
All right. So I will do 93 next week without Carol, but then maybe Carol will do 94 without me the following week when we're on break. And so if maybe you'll be on that show, and I hope that you are. I'll be away out of the country, so I will be very far away from the computer. But I appreciate you. I know the holidays are coming up, and you have been a big part of our show for many seasons now. And thank you for bringing I would say a more neutral perspective. We are fans. We've been for a long time. So some of us wear a tattoo even about the team. And but I appreciate you being able to break it down for us, and I hope that you have an amazing holiday season. And if you could join Carol, that's amazing in a couple of weeks. But either way, I hope that you have a good one, and I'll definitely talk to you in the new year.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. I always love being on with you guys, and be safe during the holidays and enjoy, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Bro, good seeing you, man. I holler back at you dudes, man. You got to definitely get up, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was nice to see you.
Oh, yeah, bro. Missed you too, man.
Yes, sir.
Take care, DJ.
Later, champ.
All right, so let's switch gears, just talk a little bit of hockey for just a couple of minutes, and then we'll get Arun on.
5 more minutes, Robbie. I can give you 5 more minutes. I got to get ready to.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's perfect. And then we'll 5 minutes of hockey talk, and then you bounce, and then we'll jump onto some basketball talk. All right, so it's been a rough week for the Capitals. 1-1. We should have won the game against Seattle, and I need help deciding something, Carol. I've seen a win on my birthday. I've seen a loss on my birthday. They're playing Seattle for my birthday this week. Do I go? I just, the Seattle team scares me, man. They're very good. And it will make my birthday if they win and I go. I will be very upset if they lose. And like, I've felt both of these before, and it's a hard decision to make.
I say it depends on if Kemper's healthy, because I see he's day to day with the lower body injury. If he's healthy and playing, I say go ahead and go, because he took that loss, that ugly loss against Seattle. Because I actually got home to see the end, and then coming winning, scoring 3 goals in the third, or 2 goals in the third to take the lead and win. So I actually saw that, and that kind of upset me, because I know Seattle had that good game before where Andre scored the game tying and game winning goal in overtime, where they scored 9 goals. So the team played them tough for 2 periods. In that third period, they found a way to let it go. And then the game previous, who was that?
It was
Toronto.
No, we won the game before that, the Vancouver game.
Yeah, we won the Vancouver game. They got the overtime against Seattle.
Yeah.
They lost the last game when they gave up
the
3
Flames.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we did beat the Flames the week before, so they were, trying to get retribution. But I just think the major thing is just the health of the team, that they're not healthy, and they're filling in pieces, and that's why we don't see the consistency. But I think if Kemper's in that, I say go, because he's the top guy. He's been playing stellar. Like I said, he gave up a little bit in that game against them earlier, so I know he's going to want to make up for it. So I say, man, go ahead and go.
Yeah, for sure. We got a delayed penalty coming up here in the Caps game, and I think who's going to the bench. I hate when they do that, where they don't tell you who's going.
Yeah, wait for the commercial break. That's
of course they do. So anyway, but there's a power play upcoming, hopefully for the Capitals. But I just want to go back to the one good game real quickly with you, the Vancouver Canucks game. Ovi getting those first 2 goals early on 2 consecutive shots. You did a great highlight video. It's on my Instagram. It's all over Facebook, and we posted it in a lot of great places. Carol did a great job with editing that. What are Ovi, road goal? Did it in so many less games too. It's just such an impressive thing, because it's one thing to be able to score in your own building. It's another thing to put it at every other team on blast. I believe, if I'm correct, he scored in every road building in the NHL. And that's something right there. Not very many players can say that they've ever done that. And then to put up over 400 road goals, to have more road goals than goals at home at that number is just astounding, right? We talk about a lot of amazing statistics, but it can't be overlooked that he scored over 400 road goals. It's never happened before. He's the best at it. It's Wayne Gretzky had all the records before, and he's slowly coming for them, right? So and this is a big one in my mind. It's one not a lot of people talk about, but be able to go on the road and be able to produce at that sort of rate is incredible. And he's now maybe the best road goal scorer in history, right? I just don't know how you could then argue it. So a pretty amazing stuff. But Carol, any final thoughts on that before I let you go?
No, you know how I love Ovi, and it's just amazing what he does and how consistently he does it and for how long he's done it, and the physical style that he plays, and only missed 18 games in a 18-year career due to injury. So I've said it before, and I say it again. I've been argued down and debated that Alex Ovechkin is the number 1 DC sports athlete of all time. I don't care what anybody else says. Point blank. So, son of a bitch, just gave up a shorthanded goal.
What?
I must be ahead. Damn it, my bad.
Oh no, yeah, but just by
Connor McDavid is
he's on fire. I actually wrote down some Connor McDavid notes. I don't usually take notes of the opposing player, but the player was the first star of the week. He went 5 goals and 6 assists in 4 games going into this. So he's incredible. It's
unit and got a shorthanded goal is ridiculous.
yeah. I mean, he's so fast, and I mean, John Carlson just doesn't have a chance against that kind of speed.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway,
But yeah,
I mean,
get back to better. Yeah, Ovi, it's good to see him, breaking more records. Chase to 800. He's on his way there to be number 2. I think Goldie Hollis, 801 or 802.
I think it's 801. I think 802 is so 802 is to have it outright. So that's
all right. So
the
I'm
next
going to reach this year, and he's going to continue to be great. I just want our team to get healthy, get all our pieces in place, and to put a legitimate run together, because we all know time is running out on this core, and Father Time is undefeated. He's always winning no matter what. So I'm hoping to see OV get another shot at getting another cut before he retires, especially being that Andre has 2 now. I still can't stomach that shit. But yeah, I think is hopefully they can get healthy, get hot, and ride a hot goalie and effective scoring and effective defense, and hopefully get it all together and can make a nice legitimate playoff run to maybe solidify and get Ovi that second cup and second ring that he deserves.
Right. So they just said that it's Connor McDavid's 5th game in a row with a goal. So that's yeah. And we almost scored right there, though. It was a good opportunity for the Caps. There's still a minute left in this power play, 4:03 left in the second period. But real quickly, Carol, we got Philadelphia at Philadelphia. Seattle is my birthday game that we're debating on whether I go. And then at Winnipeg on Sunday. And then at Chicago next Tuesday. So, there's a lot of road games here. We're in a big, long road game stretch. We come home for just that one game on Friday, and then we go on the road for 2 more games after that. What are your thoughts going into the next 4?
Like you say, road games are tough, but they normally simplify their game, and look like they almost tied it up on that shot, but goalie made a good save. They normally simplify things on the road, being with the injury situation and the goalie situation. It's definitely possible they go 2-2, possibly 3-1, but with them giving up late leads, you never know with Kemper being out. So I'm gonna stay optimistic and say they at least finish 2-2.
Yeah. I hope so. At Philadelphia again, Seattle, at Winnipeg, and then we'll break down this game and those 3 games next week. Gil will be returning, and that'll be the last podcast for me until the new year. Again, I'm starting back in January. I was almost a goal there, Carol. It was a goal.
Yeah, I was just about to give you an update.
Oh shit! I thought the goalie was excited. I misread his body language completely. All right. Is it TJ Oshie?
Yeah, TJ Oshie with the power play goal to tie it up at 2-2. And I think that's the best time for me to go ahead and get off.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Dylan Strome, nice set up to TJ Oshie in the bumper position for the easy goal there on the power play. Well designed, and I do think that's a good segue. 3:05 left in the second period. But Carol, thank you for joining us. We'll definitely clip this segment up, and you can post it on all your socials and stuff like that for you later. But it's been fun having you, and thank you for surprising me. That was quite the surprise, especially for our last football talk of 2022, at least for me. But hopefully you get the gang together and do one while I'm away. But either way, it was fun to get to do one. It has been a while.
Yeah,
and,
I had to jump on and surprise you, man. Appreciate the way you're holding down the fort while I'm doing some other things. Champ, appreciate you filling in and being part of the round table and the non-round table. But y'all keep doing what you do. I always check you out when I get a chance, and when I get a chance to jump on, I will. But y'all have a good rest of the show, talking Wizards, and hopefully some capital scoring updates. And I'll catch y'all probably the week after when I do the Sports on the Hill myself. And tune in next week for Robbie, and catch y'all next time, baby.
Right,
CP3. Arun was asking about RG3.
Oh, Lord. We don't have RG3 trivia. I might have to get him on next week and see his thoughts on RG3s. I know he probably got a whole plethora of comments about RG3 and the stuff that he's been talking about.
For sure. I'm sure he does. All right. Well, Carol, thank you for joining us. We'll bring Arun in, and we'll switch gears and talk some basketball.